That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog here. And we're doing another Blu Ray review. I know. I can't believe it either. And today, we're going to be talking about the Mill Creek release from August of 2019. The New Kids. Starring everyone's favorite TV aunt, Lori Loughlin. And a James Spader in one of his creepiest roles. And that's saying a lot because he's a creeper. He comes off very creepy in a lot of things. Notorious creep. Gotta love him for that, though. A charming creep, if you will. So anyways, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the film, let us talk about the deets of the Blu-ray. So this is a Mill Creek release. I haven't done a Mill Creek movie in a while, I don't think. If you are new to this channel and haven't heard me rant about Mill Creek, well, they tend to do a lot of, I would say, B and C tier productions, releases from other studios, from the major studios, but they kind of do the stuff that nobody seems to care about in terms of, like, it's not quite for their own labels to release, like Paramount, whoever, who did this one? Columbia. They're not going to put this out on Blu-ray through themselves, right? They're not quite cult enough for Arrow or somebody to put them out there. So Mill Creek is like this weird funnel for all that other stuff, which is great. That's kind of why I love them. You get a lot of cool stuff from them. They put out like The Baby, the Last Dinosaur movie, even Legend of Billie Jean, I believe they put out. But I think right now their coolest things they're doing are these Ultraman sets that are phenomenal, and I've been insta-buying all of them. The Steelbooks are 10/10. They are amazing, an incredible presentation from these guys. Unfortunately, though, the discs are usually no frills. And by usually, I mean almost always. You're lucky to get captions and subtitles, which this movie does have. Standard, very, very standard transfers and sound quality, visual quality. So nothing too outstanding, but they're at a very good bargain bin price point at usually $6 to $8, which for me makes most of these an insta buy because these are films I usually haven't heard of and I'm not familiar with, and they make a great addition to your collection. A lot of times these are limited too. This comes with a pretty cool slipcase that has a really cool poster, which is much better than the disc that's inside. I do not like whatever is on the cover without that slip jacket because it is lame. Very cool movie poster though, and it's kind of done in this faux VHS housing, which is cute but unnecessary. I would have just loved it to have been that poster. That poster is awesome. A little misleading to what the film is about as well, as I thought there were going to be kids in crazy masks, but no. I thought it was spooky kids in masks. No. So, okay release. I can't. It's an average release, right? I mean, what would make this below average? I guess if it looked like garbage, it looks fine. It's a very fine, so about a C minus because there's nothing here. C. I'm going to give it a C because it came with a slipcover. So that's kind of neat. So, what is this about? Well, New Kids. 1985. Two kids come to a small town in Florida and because their parents were killed in a horrible plane accident and they are being terrorized by these a gang of kids, and it's like a movie you've seen several times before, but this is directed by Sean S. Cunningham, and he gives it the Sean S. Cunningham twist. If you don't know who Sean S. Cunningham is, well, he's the man responsible for Friday the 13th, the House movies. He's done a lot of cool stuff, and great resume. Number one, I'm going to get this out of the way. I can easily recommend this movie. I think this is one of the best films that Mill Creek has put out. It takes a while to get going, though. And one thing I'm glad for is a lot of these movies where you have this gang of fellows who are town ruffians, and they are harassing someone, they're harassing people. There's usually a lot of rape in those movies, and by a lot I mean at least one or more, right? And so this movie doesn't go there, but towards the end, these kills that occur are very in the vein of very much in the vein of horror and things that we've seen in that respect, which I liked a lot. Because usually in these type of films where, again, you have this gang of youths who's harassing people and then nobody knows what to do, everyone's powerless, and then at the end they always get their comeuppance. Usually those kills are pretty boring. I always feel anyway. In this, they get creative. The main setting is, well, you've got a high school where a lot of the shenanigans occur, and then the home of these two new kids. Like I said, played by Lori Loughlin, who is notorious for being Aunt Becky in Full House, and also is probably going to prison for bribing some college officials, which I didn't know was illegal until she got arrested, which is great because now I know not to do that. Playing her sibling is someone named Shannon Presby, someone I'm not familiar with, which makes sense because this was his last film. He's great. They're both great. Shannon goes on to become a district attorney, a deputy district attorney for LA County. And apparently he prosecuted a famous cold case and won a murder conviction against a veteran LAPD detective who killed an ex-boyfriend's wife out of jealousy, which is crazy. This is even, I think, before DNA testing was a thing. And then they went back and DNA tested and found out that it was this police detective who was just a patrolman at the time. So pretty crazy case, pretty interesting. So now he's just crushing it for the law. And you've also got James Spader as a bleach-haired dickhead, and he's a total jerk and is a great creep. Everyone's on cocaine in this movie. I don't know about outside on the making of, but absolutely in this film, they're doing coke, and they're a bunch of bad fellas. You've also got Eric Stoltz, who I don't know if I care for Eric Stoltz outside of Rocky and Mask. Watched The Fly 2 recently. He's kind of annoying to me. He's always like, he just seems like this littler guy than he is. And he's always, hey, I'm the Fly. And this, he's like, hey, I like you. I think you're a cutie pie. You've also got Tom Atkins in a very brief moment. I'm not going to spoil that for you. So pretty cool though. Always a pleasure to see Tom Atkins. Very, very solid flick though. And again, solid kills. I think this is one of Mill Creek's better flicks. And a very surprising blind buy. I feel like there's more that I would normally say here. One thing I didn't care for is the soundtrack, which is done by someone I'm not too familiar with, Lalo Schifrin. At times, this thing is so belligerent and so over the top that it's distracting from the real film. Then there's moments that feel like they're ripped out of a Harry Manfredini score. That's decent. It actually, there's parts that sound like they're from Friday the 13th, which is odd, I feel, because it's not the guy. It's not the guy. Besides that, you might notice a familiar name in the opening credits. Stephen Gyllenhaal, and I know what you're thinking. That's a very common name. Could he be related to Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal? And the answer is yes, absolutely. There can't be too many people with that last name. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, not a whole lot to say about this film. This is one of those movies. You've seen this movie before. And at times where I would complain about it, this is an older film doing it, so I have to give it a pass. But yes, you've seen this movie, but it is quite solid and an easy recommend if you're looking for a cheap flick to enjoy. Just don't expect any special features. Don't expect this thing to pop off, but a solid film that has a nice little cliffhanger ending as well. That, of course, doesn't go anywhere because there is no New Kids 2. So I think that wraps up talking about New Kids from Mill Creek. A very adequate release. And thank you for watching. It's Full Custom Hot Dog. You could follow me on Twitter. I'm Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that is just too long for Twitter. And then Tuesdays I do a live show with my buddy Honest John where we talk about movies. I think this week we're going to be talking about our favorites from 2019. And that starts at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. That's Pacific Standard Time. So you can always tune in there and hang out with us, and you can hear us geek out. Last week we did a Star Wars episode that was kind of embarrassing. Thank you for watching, and until next time.